Good morning everyone and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. Yes, there's stuff on my table this morning. I thought I'd do something different. I'm going to be using AlinaCraft's ticket die and I've cut a bunch of tickets. Here they are, all cut in white. It's a lovely size die and I'm going to clear my throat because I'm incredibly squeaky today. And I'm going to be using some old stamps that I have, which are these, and I'm going to make some vintage style tickets. I'm also going to be using black soot and old paper distress ink. I'm going to be using a bunch of Touch 5 markers, and I'll tell you what colours they are as I use them, if I use them, and I'm going to be using my beautiful white gel pen, and to stamp my images I'm going to be using my Memento London Fog. Yes, Memento comes in all sorts of colours and most people stamp in black. I prefer London Fog because then I get to see more of the colour and more of the image and not so much of the black outline. So I've also got this. Yes, I have several stamping tools. I have the We Are Memory Keeper and I have two Tim Holtz stamping tools. But when I'm doing little stamps and things like that and it looks pretty easy to me, then I just get my old chipped thing out, and I've got several of these covered in ink and I love them. So we might have a chaotic day today because this is a first for me and I haven't got a clue what direction these tickets will go in as we move along. So first of all, I'm going to stamp my images on there and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I've stamped my images, and as you can see the colour isn't as harsh and in your face as doing it black when you use that London Fog. And I've decided I'm going to do my Gumball Machine first. So the first colour I think I'm going to go for is my yellow and cream. I'm going to use those two. Oop. It's not going to show, is it? There we go. Lemon yellow and cream. My camera will find me eventually, I'm sure. And I'm going to put down my lemon first. And I'm going to go inside of this area. And I hope that you are able to see because I'm just going to get stuck in there. You'll just have to pretend you're in my craft room and you're crafting along with me as I just whiz along the outlines. I absolutely love Touch 5 markers, and there may be moments when I forget to talk to you because I usually sit here with my tongue hanging out. My husband tells me I should never admit that to anyone. So I just admitted it. Whoops, get the right end of the cream there, and I'm going to go in because this stamp is shaded, so I'm going to put cream over the yellow just to darken it slightly, and that's going to give me my little bit of shadow on my Gumball Machine. So far I've done that little bit. This could be a long video. I'm now going to go in with my Cool Grey, which is Cool Grey 1. I think I may actually invest in a new camera because this one is beyond annoying. I mean, having to treat it as a microscope most days is absolutely awful. So I'm going grey into the middle there. And I'm also going to add a touch of yellow around the edge of where the sweetie would come out down through that hole. So I'm going to go around there. And because I want it to stand out, I'm going to hit that with a little bit of cream as well. So just pop that around there and make it stand out. So next I'm going to use more grey, I think. No, I won't. I'll use cream. See, this is what it's like in my craft room. What will I use? What won't I use? Decisions, decisions. And I am a very honest crafter, and I will be absolutely honest with you. And I will tell you that sort of like maybe 40% of what I create ends up in the bin because I'm just not happy with it. And I think if a lot of crafters are honest, they can make some horrendous mistakes, even though they have fun doing it. And that is the most important thing, to have fun as you make your errors. I do put a lot of stuff into the bin that I just think, what was I thinking? Right, I'm just going to pause for a second and I'll be back in a minute. So that's me trying to speed things up by adding a little bit more colour here and there, so that you're not agonising with me as I decide which pens that I need to use. So I'm just going to go in with the red. Now with all red markers, really you need to exercise caution because they all bleed outside of your edges. So one of the things that I like to do is either to use a fine liner, an alcohol ink fine liner, and go around the edge, or I only go fractionally up to the edge, and then I try to take some colour away, like from here for example, with my blending tool, and some up there on the lid, so that I feel like I've got a little bit of a shadow up there. So I'm quite happy with that. Can you see that? So I've cast myself a shadow, and I'm going to do the same thing down here as well. Just a little bit of light in this area, and that will kind of like dissolve out a bit, and I'll do the same along here. Right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to colour in a couple of my gumballs, and the first colour I'm going to use is pastel blue. So I'm going to dot some of that in there and see where that gets me. Ooh, it's really satisfying, isn't it, when you can just pop your pen down and and achieve something nice. I just absolutely love my Touch 5 markers. As I say, you know, I use Spectrum Noir. I'm not used to using Copics because, quite frankly, I can't afford to use Copics with the amount of ink that I actually use. So I'm really, really happy with Touch 5. But I did used to use Spectrum Noir, and then I realised that Touch 5 was actually better. So if Spectrum Noir are watching, please don't contact me or attack me because of that. I'm just saying it out of years of experience of using cheap markers. These are the best cheap markers on the market, and they are a lot cheaper. So I'm now going to go in with yellow. So I've got some yellow gumballs going on in there as well. And then I'm going to pause, do a little bit more colour in, and just keep coming back to you as I progress. So here's where I'm at, and I've coloured my little bubblegum machine, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how I age it, which is really, really easy, and then I just go in with my white gel pen. So the first thing I put down is some old paper distress ink, and I've got some blending foam here. Now, because you've used your Memento and you've used alcohol ink markers, these are not going to make anything run. So we just go over that, and it's going to age even the colours that you put down, but only very, very slightly. So I'm quite happy to just go over the whole thing with distress ink. Because it's vintage, we need to tone it down. So let's do that. There we go. So that's what I've got now. As you can see, it's a lot more sort of like subtle. Let's see if we can get a close-up. More subtle in colour. So that's what I've got. And now I'm going to go around the edge with Distress Black. Now, I have to tell you, years ago, when Tim Holtz first brought out Distress Inks, and it is many years ago now, I've got some really old ink pads, and I used to, well, I still do, I love altered arts, and I used to watch these women who would do ATC cards and things, and they'd put the pictures up, but there was never a tutorial on how they got that lovely crisp black edge. Well, of course, I discovered Tim Holtz and I soon found out, and this is how you do it. So if you've ever looked at that and you didn't know how it was done, it's just done by brushing the edge all the way along. You can have it as dingy and as dark or as light as you want it to be. And that's how you get that lovely black edge. And you can even go back in with your old paper and you can go over the top of that, and some of that black will be pulled in, making certain parts of it even darker, as you can see. And I do like vintage, so that whole process, that doesn't bother me. So there is my first one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on colouring these, and I'll be back, and then I don't know how I'm going to finish these, so that might be an exciting ending. I'll be back in a minute. So as you can see, I've done quite a few here, and I've just got my package and my soda bottle left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my package in this pastel blue. I have tried to keep to a very small range of colours, and I am somebody who does that, and then if I want it darker I can just go back on top with the same shade to darken it. So here's where I'm at right now, and I'm just going around there and I'm thinking where I want some more blue, because I'm going to pull green down into the whole thing, but I want it to complement that blue. So now I'm going to go in with my colour, which is lime green, and I'm just going to go over the entire thing, and you'll see that it will pick up that. It will become a darker green, but you're going to get your lighter green areas, and basically that's what I want. So I'm doing the bow. You can see I'm not sort of like super careful when I'm colouring. I just put the pen down and I follow all the lines. That's what you need to do. Just follow the lines and you'll get it done. I think some people kind of like worry about using alcohol ink markers, and there are some wonderful alcohol ink artists out there who can do some amazing stuff. I am not a colourist in that sense of the word. I just love to use it for stamping and kinds of like the little things that I sort of enjoy. So I'm picking up some shadow here with that, and then I'm going to go over it again with my lime green, squidgy that in. That's a good word, isn't it, squidgy? So I've got that there, and now I'm also going to go into that with a little bit of my blending pen, because of course as well what you've got to remember is you're going to go over this with distress ink, and that's going to age the whole thing up for you. I just want to put some light where I think there's going to be some light, and that will go a little bit paler in a second. Yeah, so that's that one finished, and then for my soda bottle I'm going to go in with cream and blue. I think I'll use Cool Shadow. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm going to use Cool Shadow on the soda bottle. So I'm just going to go straight in there and get that bit down first. Put it around the label. Hope that you can see this. And then I'm just going to touch those bits where I feel that they should be a little bit darker, and do inside there. And then I'm going to get to my scarlet red again. And as I said before, reds are notoriously difficult to use because you can just bleed right outside the lines, and it's one of those things that you either have to learn to master the pen and how far towards an edge you can go, or use an alcohol ink fine liner and try and achieve it that way. Now I know that this straw has got some red in it, and this is not going to be perfect by any means, but I am quite literally just very gently stroking the paper there. So now that I've done that one and I'm perfectly happy with that, I'm going to go over the top of this with my old paper again and start aging it. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible, but sometimes I think it's just nice to be able to show you how I do things rather than just show you the objects, if you know what I mean. And I quite like the colour of that gift. It looked quite botanical. It's probably the colours that I would use on a plant. So I've got that down, and now I'm going to go with the black again and just around the edges, and then I will pull that black across the tag, and then I will finish the other one. I'll pause and finish that one, and I'll come back because I think I'm looking at my timer there and we're up to 17 minutes. And it is a fact, people on YouTube do not like long videos. I know, because I've looked at the analytics. Right, I'll be back in a minute. So I finished distressing all those, and I think what it needs now is a few highlights of my white gel pen. Not too much, just enough to sort of like catch a few little glints that I can see. If I turn that around, I'm going to put a little bit in my balloon there just to lighten that. I do love my white gel pen, as you all know. And I'm going to put a couple of little stripes down into the popcorn box, just to kind of like define them, because there's absolutely no way that I could have done tiny thin stripes using a red pen. So I'm kind of like, I'm happy with those few. I think I might have a little bit of light on this party hat, just along there and along there. So I've done that one, and then on my candle I think I'm going to add some white so that it kind of like stands out just a little bit more, but I don't want to overdo it. So that's had a little bit of white on it. And then on my bottle I think I'm going to kind of like go between the red and almost cover the red actually, so that it's just a hint of red on that straw. So that's what I've done with that. Looks Christmassy candy stripey there. And then on the package I'm just going to put some light into the bow, and I think maybe there and a little bit there and a little bit here. And then I'm going to put some light in this section here. I think that's about right. A little bit there. Yep, I'm happy with that one. And then on the ice cream cone, I don't feel that it kind of like needs much of anything really, because I didn't really do this one very dark, but I'll have my point of light coming in there. So I've used my white gel pen. Now I'll just clear my mat away and then I'll come back and quickly show. So here we have my finished little tickets, and I hope you enjoyed spending that little looking over at my clock 20 minutes with me. Right, so that was the AlinaCraft ticket die. That's what it looks like before you begin, and that's how it ended up when we finished. As usual, all links below. You have a fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.